You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
Hi, I am Ahonu, and on behalf of Aingeal Rose, welcome to this little recording of the Verde Valley Railroad on the occasion of my birthday on 2/11. And this is an experience that Aingeal Rose purchased specially for me for my birthday.
I don't really know what's going to happen, so it should be wonderful.
And prior to getting here, I went through a lot of difficulty with this birthday, more so than any other birthday that I've had in the past. I seem to have sailed through all those earlier years, but coming to this, my 65th, it's like I went through that old mortality issue that many people talk about, but I had never understood or never experienced. And I decided that maybe this train ride might be a good opportunity to use to actually write about what's going on in my head and to get to the bottom of those apprehensions about aging. So let's see what comes out of it all.
So today is Ahonu's birthday, as you probably know already, February 11th. And so what we're doing is we're taking a train ride through the Verde Canyon.
Started at nighttime, the night before my birthday, with some rough dreams about all kinds of crazy things. Impossible to remember now, except that there was memories. They seem to be going back in time, and conflict type memories, and nothing that would identify anybody or any particular situation, but it just seemed like all this was coming up for processing. And so that's why we decided to go with the journaling for today, because Aingeal Rose and I are both going to get to the bottom of this as we journal our way along the Verde Valley Canyon Railroad. The last time I was on a train was in Tipperary when I was young, and what was attractive about that was that it was a mystery tour every Sunday during the summertime, and we'd simply get on the train not knowing where we were going to end up. And it was always very fascinating to find you'd end up by the seaside or in the city on a shopping trip or on some other kind of adventure. And that's what this is like today. We're on an adventure, and Aingeal Rose has realized that this is exactly what is needed for this particular day, is an adventure, so as to get away from the fear of death. So it's been an interesting excursion on the train on my 65th birthday, especially because it uncovered such a lot of deep subconscious programming that was going on unknowns to me. And thankfully I have Aingeal Rose and her new book, especially the Book of Manifesting, which actually teaches how to uncover these deep-seated beliefs about yourself and your perceptions and your beliefs. And I've been privileged to be the producer, the publisher of that, and doing the interior layout and all that was associated with it. So I've read it like 1,000 times. And I use the techniques in that book to ask the core pertinent questions about what was going on, why was I feeling the way I was, and all of that. And interestingly, on the way back on that train journey, I found that it was difficult to write, because the train was rattling over and back and shaking, and it's not a reproduction, it's an old train, I think from 1912 or thereabouts, and the tracks and so on are very old, and it rattles and very noisy, In fact, you couldn't even hear the commentary at times about the history and the canyon that we were going through and so on. But as an aside, I did see a bald eagle, the first one in the wild that I've ever seen, and that was really interesting. Now, when we got home, I continued the journaling, and more synchronicities started to happen as I started to uncover the thread of what was going on. And I watched a little documentary about the Freemasons, and I realized that the Freemasons were all about self-discovery and making men the best that they could be by way of charity, as well as uncovering their own false beliefs about themselves and realizing their God-given divinity. And that's what sparked me when I realized that that's exactly what was going on with me. Now, to make a long story short, what I uncovered was that the ego is out for murder. Now, we've known about that. We read it everywhere in any self-help books and so on. And we also get it from A Course in Miracles, and we get it from various other self-awareness gurus around the place, including from ourselves. But to uncover why and what's going on underneath and the degree of deception that we tell ourselves, that's what came up. And I realized that the age 65 was just a program. That's the age you're supposed to retire. That's the age my mother told me, my father told me, and all the rest of it, going back countless generations, which is not true. You can retire whatever age you like, depending on your circumstances, obviously. Some people choose not to retire at all. In fact, I remember telling my mother jokingly when I was 21, she said, "Now what are you going to do?" I can't remember what the circumstances were at the time, but I said to her, "I'm going to retire." And she said, "You can't retire. You're not 65. I'm not going to retire now either. Why? Because I've got a lot of books to publish, a lot of work to do with Aingeal Rose to uncover more and more of these false beliefs that we tell ourselves about everything and about anything. It's shocking and astonishing what I uncovered on a little train ride about myself and the fears that were there, and the fear of death, and the fear of growing old, and the fear of not accomplishing anything, when in fact being born at all is one of the most marvelous accomplishments that any being can possibly accomplish. It's so marvelous to be in a human body, and the functioning of the human body, how the liver works and the heart pumps and the lungs take in air, and how our stomachs digest food, and it's a walking miracle is what it is. And we maintain it with our thoughts, or we destroy it with our thoughts, depending on which side of the fence you're on, whether you're on the side of the ego or whether you're on the side of divinity. So that's the choice, and I choose divinity every time. So it's been an absolutely marvelous lesson that I learnt. And one other thing that comes to mind that I want to just share real quickly, because sometimes we do get people who respond to us negatively, and that's okay. It's all healthy, it's all wholesome, it's all good. But one of the things that I anticipate, because it came up for myself, was, you're fooling yourself now, you see. You're getting old, and you're just fooling yourself into thinking that you're not old and that you've got another 40, 50, 100 years to go, and you're just playing with words and you're tricking yourself, and this is typical of the ego, the way it goes. Now, you see how the ego comes in to try and thwart you no matter what you decide. And when you decide on the side of divinity, that ego is still there. In fact, the ego is necessary in order to keep us alive on this plane of physical existence. It has to be there, so that when the lion roars, you run, or when the buffalo charges, you run. This is the ego protecting itself. But it's out of control, ego, with most people in the world, and has been out of control with most people in the world since forever. So now we're taking charge, we're taking control, and we know how to eliminate these falseness, these false ideas that come up, and we know how to uncover them, and we know how to reverse them. And that's the most important thing. So in summary, and I'm sorry for going on for so long, I know the attention spans get short and all that. This is more stuff that we're told, but some people will sit and watch documentaries for hours. Listen, take a breath. It's all good. There's lessons in every breath. So I learned a big one, and I am so grateful that I learned it here and now. And I'm so grateful for you for listening, and I'm so grateful for every breath I breathe and the life I live, and for Aingeal Rose and all our people who support us and all those who help us and that we help, and all the avenues of technology, even though Source has told us if there's anything to be wary of in this current world, be careful of technology. But that's also the misuse of technology, because technology is coming to you right now. Technology allows us to deliver this. Technology saves lives. Just like money is sometimes judged by, oh, money is the root of all evil. No, the misuse of money is evil. The misuse of anything is not good. So therefore, I have learned some amazing things on this little train journey, and I'm so glad to be able to share them with you. I hope I haven't bored you to tears. I hope that it lands on fertile ground and that it will help you too. So remove the worry. Yeah, don't let that little ego defeat your happiness, defeat your state of well-being, or defeat your peace, because the peace is inside, in the divine self. So that's the message from the train and from the mountain today. Blessings from myself, Ahonu, and from Aingeal Rose.
Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and on our website at worldofempowerment.com.
Don't miss an episode. Hit the subscribe button now.